This keeps getting worse and worse for this Miami Heat organization, as we just learned brand new information leaving us to believe the Miami Heat had an opportunity to trade away Terry Rozier earlier this offseason. I'm here to break down all of the new information and how Marcus Smart could be the newest member of this Miami Heat organization if Miami were simply willing to take a chance and give up Rozier in exchange for Marcus Smart. We'll break down all of that and really why it didn't happen for this Heat team, all on this episode of Heat Digest. But first, remember to stay up to date with everything Miami Heat by scrolling down and clicking the subscribe button, as nearly 90% of you guys watching this video are not currently subscribed. Help us hit our new goal of 3,000 subscribers, as we appreciate all that you guys do. So thank you guys. But now let's get to it and break down how Miami missed out on a great move. Now we're going to be breaking down an article written by Anthony Chang, someone we cite on this channel a whole lot, as he's one of the beat writers covering this Miami Heat organization, as he tweeted this article saying why the Heat didn't agree to a Terry Rozier for Marcus Smart swap earlier this offseason, and went on to tag the article. If you click on the picture of Rozier, it then takes you to the article, as we all know, as Anthony would go on to say as follows: but the Heat remains open to trading guard Terry Rozier ahead of the start of this up-and-coming season, according to multiple league sources. In fact, there were discussions between the Heat and the Washington Wizards regarding a Rozier trade earlier this offseason. He would continue saying, quote, Miami weighed a Rozier for Smart swap, but could not reach an organizational consensus on whether such a trade was a clear upgrade, end of quote, according to an NBA reporter, Jake Fisher. Quote, Smart ultimately secured a buyout from Washington on July 19th that ultimately enabled him to sign with the LA Lakers as a free agent. And if you look, this is currently the contract Marcus Smart is currently on, a 2-year deal, with the second year being a player option. He'll make $5.1 million this year, and if he opts into next year's contract, he'll make $5.3 million and some change for the Los Angeles Lakers, being really a backup utility point guard for that organization. Now, the idea in itself, Terry Rozier for Marcus Smart, from looking at it in this context, in this situation, I do not understand how or why this Miami Heat organization did not believe or understand if this would be a clear upgrade for the Miami Heat. Yes, I understand the Terry Rozier speculation and the alleged gambling operation he is currently being federally investigated for there was rumors that he was somewhat in the clear, and it wasn't as much or as dramatic as everyone was really making it out to be. We've obviously learned since then that he is not home free, and Terry Rozier is still under federal investigation for an alleged gambling operation that was taking place. There seems to be a lot of information coming out every other day about really all the data, the bets made, what they were being placed on, the time in which they were placed, the amount of money that was being put on these bets, and really it's not looking good for Terry Rozier. Now, if Marcus Smart was still in Washington, and we all know all the information that we do up to this point with Rozier, I'm not sure if Washington even answers that call anymore. It seems like they were more than willing to make this trade, but Miami was the stagnant side in this operation and then in this possible transaction, as they were hesitant and they were not 100% sure on whether or not this would be a reliable and good move going forward, in the sense of, would they get worse in this trade? If they gave up Rozier and sent him to Washington and they brought in someone like Marcus Smart, is it really going to be a duplicate of what we witnessed this past season from Rozier in a Heat jersey, where the overall statistical production was way down, like we've mentioned on this channel in a whole bunch? Last year averaging 10.5 points. The year prior, where he played a half a season for this Heat organization, he averaged 16.5 points. And if you look at the breakdown, I'm pretty sure they have it, 2 teams, Charlotte and Miami. Yeah, so 16.5 in that season. That was the second half, if you will, of that season just a year ago, out not counting his tenure in Charlotte, not Chicago, in Charlotte. He did average just under 17 points for this Miami Heat team, and he was just more frequent. He was attacking the ball more, overall playing a better brand of basketball. But now, through last season, it just did not work. He didn't get a lot of playing time. When he did, he was abysmal. And honestly, it looked like he was gambling on himself because of how bad he was playing. It actually looked like he was throwing opportunities in other games. But now to move on for another quote from the article, multiple league sources confirmed those trade talks between the Heat and the Wizards took place this summer. While a Rozier for Smart swap would have made sense for the Heat because Smart was a cheaper expiring contract at $21.6 million salary for this up-and-coming season prior to the agreeing of a buyout for the Wizards. The Rozier expiring deal, which was $26.5 million for this up-and-coming season, a league source indicated the Heat ultimately did not make the trade because the draft capital it would have needed to attach to Rozier to facilitate such a deal. So no, would it have been a one-for-one deal for Rozier involving Marcus Smart? That was not the case. It would have been Rozier plus draft compensation going to Washington in exchange for one in Marcus Smart coming back to Miami. Looking at it like that, I could understand how Miami would not want to give up any draft compensation, as we know they do such an elite job year after year, whether it's in the first round, in the lottery, out of the lottery, or if it's after the draft has ended and they're going out and signing guys who went undrafted to two-way deals. They continue to knock it out of the park every chance they get, and it's resulted in a lot of good pickups, especially over the last 2 years, as really a third of the roster is guys on two-way contracts looking to really highlight and showcase their abilities on an NBA scale and showcase that they can be reliable options on the NBA level. Now, Terry Rozier, we know what this looks like, and we've broken down the statistical production that we've seen. But again, like the article mentioned, $26.6 million and some change going to Rozier this year on the final year of his contract in Miami, his age 31 season. This is obviously the last year of that deal. Following this season, he will be an unrestricted free agent where he will then test the offseason market. For Marcus Smart, we mentioned it earlier, now a 2-year deal with his new team, his new organization in the Los Angeles Lakers after being bought out by the Washington Wizards, not only allowing the Wizards to open up another roster spot, but then allowing the Los Angeles Lakers to go out there and acquire someone like Marcus Smart. That would have been a match made in heaven for this Miami Heat organization. And the reason I say that is because Marcus Smart, ever since his days back at Oklahoma State, has really owned this persona and this overall aura on the basketball floor and off for that matter. It's a gritty, it's a grimy, defensive-minded first guy that is going to slap the floor, move his feet, and play elite-level defense and really just be a pest on both sides of the floor for anyone that has to match up against him, while also being able to knock down an open three-point shot at a pretty good clip, as well as just having the ability to handle and facilitate the basketball as a true point guard should be able to do. I think in the sense of mold, in the fashion in which Marcus Smart plays the game of basketball, I don't know if there's much of a better fit for Miami in the sense of a complementary guard coming off the bench, in the sense of a role player as a 7th, 8th, or 9th guy coming off the bench. Marcus Smart was that fit. He's not going to demand the basketball that much. He's not going to demand shots at an ample amount like these other guys that are rounding out the rest of this Miami Heat lineup. I think this would have been a slam dunk of a trade for the Miami Heat. I understand they didn't want to give up the draft compensation. Hopefully they did good with this year's draft picks, going out and getting the young man from Michigan who's going to be a center, Golden, as well as obviously Kasparis with the 16th, 15th overall pick in the first round. Obviously a lot of upside, but we have to see how these guys end up going out there and producing. And if you look at it in that sense, you have to understand that Kasparis was just drafted. And again, we're going to focus on the first round guy rather than the overall draft compensation they went out and acquired this past year. Kasparis, a first round guy. They're going to have him for another 3 seasons at the minimum, if not 4, if not longer, if they see what they need to see from him and they want to extend him early before he demands a large price tag. Someone like Marcus Smart would be a bit of a rental, like we see with the Los Angeles Lakers. Really a 1-year deal with a player option coming next year where Marcus Smart could ride out into the sunset if he has really gotten all the basketball he wants and doesn't want to play anymore, which is a possibility. Yes, he's only 31, going into his age 32 season next year. It's more of a rental. If it doesn't work, Miami could end up, the Los Angeles Lakers could end up moving someone like Marcus Smart on a 1-year rental deal to someone looking to acquire another utility guy coming off the bench. And really, to conclude this video, the article goes on to say that we mentioned earlier, written by Anthony Chang, while the Heat continue to explore trades for Rozier, it is hesitant to sacrifice future draft capital or salary cap flexibility to simply dump his expiring contract. Obviously mentioning Terry Rozier in this instance. As we all know, it's rough to have him a part of this Miami Heat organization, especially after what we have witnessed over the last year and some change, and with the alleged gambling operations that he's being federally investigated for. It's hard to want to maintain retain and keep Terry Rozier, but it looks like they're looking to move him, and obviously they missed out on someone like Marcus Smart, but maybe they can end up moving Rozier for another complementary piece along the same lines as Marcus Smart without giving up the draft compensation in years later to come. Let me know down below what your overall thoughts and opinions are. Would you have given up Rozier plus the draft pick for someone like Marcus Smart, or are you happy they held on to the draft compensations to possibly move Rozier for something even less than of a Marcus Smart? Let me know down below what your overall thoughts and opinions are, and I will see you guys on the next episode of Heat Digest.